Ready to approve the minutes? This is the commissioners.
There's a rabbit.
Look, sorry I didn't send your answer back to your email about showing up.
It's all right, I talked to you on the phone.
Yeah, I know, but you sent an email and I didn't read my emails and then I went back and I saw it today. Please call.
Well, that's why I called as well.
I understand. No. You didn't send.
Hello.
Did you?
My cousin? Right.
We watched it last week. Did you watch it?
I can do rest of
He's all right. I made the same mistake.
There could be guest talkers.
Yeah, right. So,
Probably should have ordered it up to the highlight area.
You hand it out, something like this. You got to be halfway through. Told you to stand up. But if you read it, it says, when it comes to the paragraph, it says stand up. At that point, I learned to read every single word. Never forget that, because I just thought I once stood up. Well, this is what, this was a cheat. I was in school at the time. I was learning to be an officer. That's the nice, but that's the cheat. That's the cheat. That's the organization. You want to allow them to remember what. First year you're on the ship, eyes open, ears open, and you're out. That's it. Very well. As a result. It was a good point, what I am. What's the other? Lovely place, and the barracks. And the senator's son. Then they live on a house. The barracks had 8 hours. And they work.
oh,
Yeah, I forgot. Really? Oh, yeah. That would make it Shall we? Where do we go?
I wanted to point one thing out real fast.
Sure.
Instead of the abbreviations, I put in blue. And then anytime after that, the abbreviation would suffice. Okay.
Those were all suggested modifications. Is there any motion to adopt those modifications?
I make the motion to adopt.
No, we need this one.
No.
Any business.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
We're just working.
So we left off on hold that thought. Yeah.
Page 6, if you have the, since she's made modifications on that, it's gonna be a little different. Page 6 for the,
That's all right.
But the new format is gonna be on page 7.
yeah, it's page 6, 4.
So I think where we were talking last was size.
Add in some added stuff that's
Yeah, what we were deciding on, the acreage size and the number. And I asked the question, and this was given to us here, but the way these were written, the draft, the commissioners and the attorneys and whoever had it in their minds to limit the entire county project to 2,000 acres and not multiple CSECSs was 2,000 acres. So where we left off last time, I was questioning all of that. That kind of answers what they were.
Bring that up.
I'm trying to find it.
It's right here, it's right after where we left off. It's at the top of page 7.
Four,
Right.
yeah.
No,
Yeah, right there. 4A.
yeah, the 4 is at the very bottom of page 6, that's right there, right before that 4 is where we left off last time.
One part of that part is it says project area. So that would mean that the extent would be 30% marking. The project area can only be 70% of the project extent. So if we're saying the project area is 2,000 acres, then that means the extent would be, could be larger. I mean,
Understand. Problem with that?
And, yeah, in the beginning, we had discussions about that, and now knowing that that's what the intent is, I don't see a problem leaving it that. That if a company so chooses to operate under these regulations, it would be 2,000. There is a caveat to that I have, that is there a way that we could put some kind of language in there that would give us the opportunity at a later date to increase that? The reason being is it's the reality of this is that there is a particular landowner that has leased a large portion or a large sum of acres, more than the 2,000 acres that we're on. If it were to go through and they were to be the accepted site, the county would then benefit from the project. But would it not be more beneficial to allow more acres in that one site in order to increase the revenue? I'm speaking in total opposite of where I've been, but I've come to as much as I would hate to see solar panels on that particular piece of property, if that's where it so ends up, and they're willing to lease more, to have more contiguous acres that are not. So, I guess, long story short, if we leave it at the 2,000,
Okay, to answer the first question is, yes, I think we have the power to amend anything that we have drafted.
and that's what, just because if we could either move that number up and increase the setbacks, and I'm fully okay with 4 mile setback from non-participating landowner or whatever.
Do you have a suggestion?
I don't mind leaving it at 2,000, but I would like some kind of language that would give us the opportunity to evaluate the situation.
So,
Again, so leave it at 2, they still have to come to us for approval, right? I think at that time, we would have the power to increase the size.
That's,
That'd be one option. Like I said, another option would be to, so we're not putting the county in a situation that, only one landowner has the ability to benefit. That, if the company, or whomever, these, but they want to do a larger project, then more people could participate if they so choose. So I mean, most of those are options.
I think that's what our suggestion, is we have 3, not more than 3 locations, right?
well, that was where you're talking on the ECSs, that was where we left off, is nailing down a number of what we
So
like
we have
to
2
see.
ways to go. One would be to allow the larger, or second would be to allow for more than one.
right. And I'm not in favor of 5 or 6 or 10,000 acres in the entire county. I like the 2,000 number. Now, I mean, as you said before, this is what they were happy with, and that's what I found out. And the smaller the better, but I think in certain situations where if the project is going to exist and it can work within the setbacks, but the neighbors and the non-participating landowners, I'm just putting it out to say at the beginning, I guess.
Understand.
Whether or not 2,000 acres is enough for a company to come in here and say, we're going to put all this infrastructure in, that's not really my concern right now.
Well, I got to assume the commission will get some looking into that, whether or not that would entice someone to come to Jackson County. That's just a guess. Kind of makes sense.
So I'm in favor of leaving it at that,
Okay.
as long as we have the,
Okay.
So my question on that is, it says on there that the Board of County Commissioners can approve modification. Well, that means just them and not us, right? Because I mean, if we're gonna modify it, should we also be, like, should it say unless the planning board / Board of County Commissioners approve modification?
Probably should be one or the other.
Well, I mean,
normally anything that goes through us will eventually have to go through them.
so should we change that to just the planning commission?
If you leave it Board of County Commissioners, then the 2,000 acre limit is no longer in place.
Right.
They have to come to that. If you want to keep it at 2,000, you should make that happen.
Or put it to where we have the site-specific characteristics that we can approve that.
Right, so we approve it no matter what, it's gonna go in front of them once it leaves us, right?
Yes.
So,
Or you can put it in, and so they all have to agree.
Right.
That the planning commission and
Let's do that.
the county commission.
So let's the planning commission and the Board of County. B, anybody have any comments on B?
Well, so, on what we left off was saying the amount of CSECs we'd like to see. And obviously, from the minutes that we have in front of us with the highlighted part, the county does, the commissioners would like to see it at 2,000 acres. That means that we need to put in there, right, that we only allow one CSECs in the county.
Correct.
That's not in the proposed regulations that we were given.
Right. But I mean,
Is that what we want to do?
right, I mean, we can add it.
We could add it, assume they would follow all those things.
Well, that's what I mean, that's what I'm saying right here, though, is what I'm saying.
Why didn't they put that in?
Others.
That's why we're, to pick up what they meant. I mean, if that's what we want to do,
Of course.
I'm in favor of 2,000 acres in one project. So that whichever company decides to come in here, that's what they do.
With the exception of if there's a continuous
Right.
landowner, that it makes sense to expand it. And that's how I feel too, is to leave it at the 2,000 for one CSECS.
That's the definition, and it doesn't give the number is not given until.
Okay, let's go back to that. I think we can put that in that same paragraph. In order to maintain the rural character and preserve agricultural land, and ECS project area should be limited to no more than one of no more than 2,000 acres. For one project?
More than one 2,000 acre site.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Acre site. Okay, satisfactory? Any comments about B? Five? Five, glare, all solar panels must be constructed to minimize blast or reflection onto adjacent properties and adjacent roadways, and must not interfere with traffic, including air traffic, or create a safety hazard as per any local, state, and federal laws and regulations. If necessary, the following measures can be utilized to limit glare. Okay so far? Okay. Textured glass. B, anti-reflective coating. C, screening. D, distance. E, positioning units in a manner that reduces glare. F, or such other method as may be approved by the planning commission. Need to add anything? Got that last paragraph that seems to cover us. Okay? G, vegetation. The system shall be designed to accommodate concurrent use of the land for livestock grazing, row crops, pollinator habitat, other agrivoltaic use, or contain a diverse array of native grasses and forbs for native habitat under and between the rows of the solar panels, ground around and under the undersoil panels, arrays in a designated buffer area should be planted and maintained in personal and perennial vegetated ground cover or agricultural plants that are managed to prevent erosions and runoff and meet the following standards goals. You good so far?
One thing I have about that is, depending on what, I don't know where we put this or however, but, if they went back, I mean, we've talked about this earlier in the beginning part of it, but putting native grass underneath these is not conducive to fire hazard. I don't know, whether they require cool season only or what, I don't know what the plan is. Just as an aside, I would like to put a limit on the amount of agrivoltaic uses. And we have, and then I'll get to my reason why. But I don't know what to say to put around it underneath. I've not been around them, my guess is they've got gravel and weed barrier behind it.
Well, if they're going to attempt to use grazing, they have to have grass.
That's also the reason I want to put a limit on the agrivoltaic. So Kate may have to help me with some numbers, I guess, but if we were to, in the last 2 weeks, have done my own research and investigations, and 2 weeks ago I was in favor of a zoning change. Through the investigation, I realized that even if we change it, it's not going to increase the amount of tax revenue that that property would generate. Going from a use value to a market value is going to increase, what, 4 times, somewhere in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
So, of those 2,000 acres, it's going to generate 4 times more revenue under the conditional use. Under a zoning change, it would generate the exact same tax revenue, but we wouldn't have control over what happened. I originally was in favor of changing it to I-2 because I-1 wouldn't fit the classifications. But under I-2, that zoning changed. Doesn't matter what, I mean, they can put about anything they want. We would lose the standards that we're putting forth here. And so that's why I've changed my mind on that. The part about agrivoltaic is that if it's considered ag land, it's based on the use value, not the market value. So in an agrivoltaic situation, it would still be taxed at the use value.
It's not taxed. They pay it in lieu of it.
No, it's still under property taxes.
Well, but they still pay it.
The property owner is not absolved of this.
Well, the company may pay more than tax.
They're gonna pay in lieu of it,
Yeah.
but the property owner will still pay taxes. The taxes will increase on the property. But if it's left as agrivoltaic, then it could still be considered ag use and it would be taxed at a lower level. So if we want to get that 4-time step up, then we need to limit that. If this project goes in, it's for tax revenue for the county.
Sure.
It's in mind.
Good question.
So we're gonna try to get the most tax dollars we can out of it.
What do you want to do, agrivoltaic?
We can do that or limit it to 20% of the project, or, and I wanna keep the ag side of things, but yet I want, if we're doing this, I wanna have, let's have a little discussion, because John has something to say. Well, but that's what I'm saying, that's
20
protecting,
might be okay.
that's protecting the county in determination to say that if we're gonna do this, we want the most tax dollars possible. Because if they come in and say, well, it's all that, then we lose out on tax revenue of the project. And then we'll have to negotiate through the pilot to get there.
If that is okay, so we do not, a deal breaker for a company.
Well, we can stipulate that. But I don't want that to. I don't want that to be left out there to where it can be used to our advantage. So that's why we have to put a limit on it.
Right, I'm not educated enough to know what other uses it might be made. You know, what might be included in that?
Or it's in the definitions.
I just highlighted something you guys might want to look at.
Okay, so it's mandatory, they have to do something. Right?
That's what this is.
Yeah.
That's how I read it.
Yeah.
And at that, there would be tax on the use value, not on market value. And that's where I'm still going to the zoning. I mean, I've changed where I'm at on the zoning, but there's gotta be a way to, for the landowner to have some skin in the game. Whoever is the landowner signed up for this, they are drastically changing the perception of the county, and they need to have some skin in the game. If we leave it all to the company, then that allows a landowner or 10 landowners to change the landscape of our county with no financial obligation on their own. So I want to put some financial obligation into the landowner to the county because they are.
So, could we put in there that ultimately the landowner has to say on whether they would like their panels to be an agrivoltaic site?
But I'm saying the county will lose out on tax revenue by doing so. So I'm saying if we're gonna allow this, then I want it to be industrial,
Right,
not agricultural.
right.
So that then we would get that step up in the use to market value, which is a 4 times.
So can we, I mean, why couldn't we just remove anything about agrivoltaic at all? And then we could delete it to where it said, right where ground starts. And the ground before panels are raised, or on, before it says or, I guess. Shall contain a diverse array of, and instead of native grasses, we say cool season grasses and forms. And so on and so forth.
Or do you just say the ground around and under the panels shall be managed to prevent erosion and runoff? And
Because it's inside, they would certainly the grass filters.
right. Because we have the standards in there for runoff and NRCS and all of that, so they're gonna have to grade it in such that it doesn't create ditches. If the ground around is managed in their opinion, that the ground cover, vegetated ground cover satisfies that requirement, that's up to them to do. But I would like to eliminate the requirement that it has to be grass. Because then if they want to put gravel and weed barrier. It's a double-edged sword, but all of these. So yeah, I would say strike any requirements for vegetation and just make it to where it has to be maintained to prevent erosion.
Well, you seem like a lot more knowledgeable about this than I am.
I will say, I have devoted a tremendous amount of my mental energy to this. So.
But I agree with you. I think whatever, you'll get the most you can.
So Luke, are you suggesting, in 6, down from where you have highlighted in gray, page, start with, higher than plan? You were suggesting you then take out and perennial vegetated ground cover or agricultural plants that are managed. Not that parcel would be trying to maintain to prevent erosion and runoff.
Yes.
Something is that what you're
Yes.
suggesting?
To eliminate a requirement of specific vegetation or whatever, to just say that it needs to be planted, maintained to prevent erosion and runoff, something like that.
Objection to that?
That's fine with me.
Strike that, that have highlighted there.
Yes.
Actually, I better leave in that top part and just take out that letter phrase. The last
Go with
two
one.
lines.
The row crops, pollinator habitat, agrivoltaic uses.
To me, that first sentence does not mandate any of those that are listed on line 2. And 3, it just says, okay, here's the field of options. We, the county, are giving you. The shell command is in that last sentence.
I guess I don't want to give any option of livestock raising, row crops.
I think I'd take out the agricultural plants and just put full plants.
Agricultural plants could be used resources to these and
Yeah,
just,
that's exactly.
it's that runoff road, erosion,
Yeah.
how it got. Or could you just take out the agricultural plants and put vegetated ground cover or other means that are managed to prevent erosion and runoff? If gravel and weed barrier,
Because there's nowhere in there where it says if you don't want to plant grass, you just have gravel.
right,
So I mean, we should probably, if we're saying we're okay with just gravel and weed barrier, probably lay that out or something, that this is the other option.
Right. And then what other needs satisfy that? Not specifically saying that it has to be that, but
I mean, I think that kind of lays it out, that, yeah, if vegetative ground cover or plants or how you want to do it, or at least, that's mine, you can do ground cover, or other means, well, that. These are other means. Anybody who's doing, I mean, the people that are putting it in will know, you know, should know the other means to prevent. Right.
You know,
Right.
and our land and what.
That was part of the contract, so that's some part of
That's
it.
part of the contract.
Ain't that good?
So then on C, we want to eliminate,
A's, A and B are both okay? Okay, C? You have to take out agrivoltaic. Further coverage should occur as shown on the new vegetation management agrivoltaic plan.
that
Major project area disturbed soil should be seeded, prevent erosion, and managed runoff. Seed mixes from perennial planters should be put in the first of the capacity in the water. You put something in there about other means.
So, and I'm doing a lot of thoughts rolling through my head, but if we put that agrivoltaic is not allowed, could the native plants, wildflowers still be planted and not change the use value? I mean, if agrivoltaic is not a consideration, do you allow for native, I mean, I don't want to take out the native plants and wildflowers if they want to put them in, but they can't classify that as an agrivoltaic process.
Okay, then.
So, define it the way that's,
Well, seed mixes or perennial planting should include a diversity of grasses, native plants, wildflowers, and timber pasture grasses are preferred, that are not considered agrivoltaic. That work? Okay. D. E. Okay. 7, soils. Allocating construction activities shall preserve existing topsoil. Topsoil may be temporarily displaced with gradients to improve as part of the installation. Is that? The amount of topsoil displaced should be minimized. With that. After rough grading of topsoil should be redistributed uniformly on the surface of all areas to be vegetated, and topsoil shall not be removed from the site except as required by Kansas Department of Health and Environment, KDHE, due to contamination or due to other applicable local, state, or federal laws. The amount of soil removed should be reported to KDHE, and KDHE accepts such reports, and the county zoning administrator, and is to be disposed of in accordance with applicable regulations. County may require topsoil to be brought to the site for reapplication and planting depending upon the amount of removal. Think of all that?
yeah.
Okay?
If we could back, if I could back up a second, go back up to 6, I think we need to add in E and have a control plan for noxious weeds and invasive brush. So that it doesn't turn, I mean, if they don't take care of the invasive brush, hedge trees, locust trees, bushes, and thistles, that needs to be mandated somehow.
What was the language you suggested?
I don't know how to say that, some type of a control plan for noxious weeds and invasive brush. Cedar trees. But I don't know if that's the right language to put.
Can we put something in there that the county noxious weed department has the right, is the right word, but, I mean, they can go in the fenced area and make sure that they're maintaining it as far as with the noxious weeds the way they should.
They don't have any teeth.
The county has,
County, I mean,
they already have that off, I mean, they don't drive around, you know.
so,
We just need something in here to address it, whether that's through the noxious weed department or just, I don't know how to say it. That was one thing I wanted to know.
So you have a control plan for elimination of noxious weeds.
Control of, weeds. They put a plan for the control of noxious weeds and invasive brush. Because much of my disdain, hedge and locust trees are not on the county noxious weed.
Control plan is noxious. Control plan to requirements shall be submitted.
They don't have any requirements on invasive brush. So I don't, what you have is fine, but we also need to put something about controlling invasive brush. Because it's not,
including non-county regulated invasive brush.
yeah,
I mean, if you're saying, they all obviously saying it's not hedge and locust trees, but we don't want hedge and locust trees being
or cedars, or
right, right.
basically any tree should be growing out of the middle of it, they're not gonna want that for the shade fence.
Probably when you put in not regulated by the county, is what, how's that defined? I don't know how to define it. I think it's better to
Just leave it as is.
We don't really need anything about the noxious weed department.
Well, but if there, say there was a site overrun with thistles, all it would take was a call to the noxious weed department, then that landowner and the solar panels would see the letter saying, or a call saying, hey, you need to get your thistle. Or fine, which is something they need to have.
All we really have a control plan to
I think it's fine.
remove noxious weeds and invasive brush shall be submitted.
I think that's.
I think we ought to leave the weed department in, because they're ultimately the ones that have to say on the noxious weed.
Well, what does the Jackson County noxious weed department have that they have to comply with?
The control of noxious weeds.
Isn't that repeating ourselves?
Yes, the only thing that I wanted was the invasive brush is not covered under the noxious weed. So you could take out the to remove noxious weeds and just put including a plan to control invasive brush. So go after two, and then go control and basic growth.
I'm gonna suggest we have control plan on the requirements of Jackson County electric. That makes more sense.
What did you just say?
And between D and Jackson, put requirements of.
Okay?
I guess I have a question, and I kind of thought about this. So, who's going to take care and make sure that all this is done correctly?
Nobody, we just have to have it written in there.
Well, I know, but I guess my thinking
But then
is,
if not, just we just notify.
yeah, but I mean, any of
You're
this.
saying in general.
My thinking is that whoever puts this in, that the county needs to hire a project manager and be paid for by this company. And they oversee the project for however long it is, and they're gonna pay you. Because my question is okay, they bring in a 10-ton truck and they drive it over an 8-ton bridge. How are we gonna know that? I mean, I kind of thought about that when I read that one
Well, let's add,
Well,
pay
right.
that, we can
from
add
the
that.
fire department.
I-
And maybe I'm ahead of myself.
Well, I agree, but I don't know if that's for the regulations or if that's the county's.
True, I'm
requirement.
just,
And I think that might come in the commissioner's requirements.
well, can't we put it in here?
I think we should.
I mean, it's just like the fire department, you know, the guy from Delia said, you know, what
Think we should
about,
find a place to put
what
it.
about training and stuff like that? I mean, they should pay for all of that too. You know, any extra equipment that's needed, I mean, that shouldn't come out of our pocket.
You're saying the company that does
Yes,
this.
whoever it is that's doing this, they need to pay for those items. I mean, we don't wanna have a fire and then don't have the right equipment to handle it, because we don't have the money in the county. I mean,
And yeah, fully with you on that. I think the way I understand it is that the commissioners will address that in negotiations with the company at that point. I just,
Rock quarries too.
Yeah,
It's in the,
understand.
it's in the agreements,
okay,
it's not in the regulations anywhere, but it's in the agreements that are
okay.
established.
Right. That's fine.
I don't think it's a bad idea to add.
if we can find a place that it
Or
makes
stay in.
sense.
We can add it, make a new section. Give them that. Okay?
So Egan,
Soils? Any comments on soils?
I think we were down the setbacks, you ran through the
Yeah.
soils.
Okay, is that max buffer? Okay.
we've got a wording issue, like right in here. Does that sound weird to you?
If KDHE accepts such reports, county zone administrator,
What is
Suppose
that?
Kind of left it open.
You know, what is that? It seems to me.
so shall not be removed from the site except as required by the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. Due to contamination, or due to other applicable law, state and federal laws, the amount of soil removal should be reported to KDHE. KDHE accepts such reports. And county zoning commissioner usually exposed, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's
Do you normally have anything to do with something like that? Because you, I mean, you would be the county zoning administrator, right?
well, KDHE would send me any reports.
Do you have to approve them, or you just file them?
Yeah, I just put paperwork there. There are certain requirements that we have to have, an approval from KDHE for septic or septic disposal or new construction, so they send us those reports.
But you don't have to give your, say, yes, this is fine with me, or it's just you have the reports. That's one of the things you
And
have.
they approve
Right,
whatever
right.
system.
You don't have to approve anything.
So should it say if ADT accepts them and file with the county zoning
I
administrator?
suggest we check that county council. I'm not sure what they're, I don't know where they're headed.
Right, what,
Let's just kick that to Tom. They'll clean it up.
highlight, do the whole thing.
I don't like that in a different color here.
Yeah, because we don't know what.
I'm not sure where they're headed. I hate to try to guess at it and get it wrong. Just gonna kick that, Todd. Go ahead, read your to be disposed of. Which I don't think you concur with.
What are the rest of those?
I'd rather serve one life. Okay, we're on
Setbacks.
action, okay? A, all structures, okay? B,
I just have a personal preference that I would like to see that distance increased to 1,320 feet from an existing residence.
anybody object? Okay, make that 1320.
13
Uh-huh. Rest okay? I mean, the rest of that, where?
Because it gives the opportunity if a leaseholder lives on the property, they can request a lesser setback. But I also don't think there's anything limiting any of the setbacks on non-participating landowners. Well, other than put down D, it does talk about non-participating. But in order to protect someone's property rights that's non-participating, I feel we need to put in some type of a setback.
So,
Okay, we got to
Buffering
change,
right
got to
there.
change I also. 1320. Okay, now, what language are you wanting?
Well, there's nothing or that I have found that, so say it's a quarter section of solar panels and the neighbor has a quarter section of grass. There is no, there may be somewhere, but I would like to see some kind of a setback away from the property line of a non-participating landowner, so that if they bought their land to deer hunt on, and the solar panels can run right up to that line, and the inverter is right there in the noise, it can devalue their property to the point that it's not at their intended use. So at that point, it affects the neighboring property rights. We're giving the participating landowner property rights to do this, but we also have to protect the non-participating.
So you prefer existing property?
I don't know that we can do 1,320 feet from an existing, from a property line, because that would eliminate an 80-acre parcel, but if they couldn't put any panels on that whole thing. But I do want to have some kind of language that gives, whether it's 500 feet or 200 feet or whatever, I don't want to be a neighbor and have solar panels right at the fence.
Mr. President, for X amount of feet from the adjoining property line.
A non-participating property. And that's, I may be getting ahead of myself, because down in E, it talks about some of the non-participating stuff, so I just, wherever we can find to put the language, I just put what I want.
Problem D is it just calls it out as residential.
Right.
Well, I know what you're saying, is you would be willing to have a lesser amount for simply adjoining land. So I'd say, I think we're gonna put that in, should we put it in there?
In the first, in B.
Yeah. But then essentially everything else would apply.
So what is an acceptable number? You know, whether 500 feet is too much. I guess it's a discussion.
What if we just cut half that first one?
Have to go forward to go, talks about setbacks on the county roads and things like that.
What's going on?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
We'll see.
Should we put 300 feet on the non-participating landowners, or non-participating, is that hated property owner, property line?
Go back up. And how many feet?
As of 14. Yeah, 300 is a good.
Well, that was, what was suggested, you should said it was too much, and I think it is a long ways. 300 to 500, I think would be acceptable.
Four. Each existing residence and 400 feet from the adjoining,
From a non-participating property.
from a non-participating property.
We wanted at the end here, because then it's continuing to talk about the residents, like a residential.
Right, and that's where I don't know if it needs to go in its own, because that's talking about a residence, so you need it in its own.
But is it also talking about the participant, like, to me, that's not, that residence isn't talking about a non-participating residence, because
Well,
indeed,
but it is, it's inclusive.
So if it's a participant, they can agree to the lesser setback, and it's in writing. But that's from a non-participating residence. And then, so then I think you need to have some, for a non-participating landowner.
but I think it needs to be a whole other
Yeah,
section, not
Yeah.
added into that, I think it needs to be, yeah.
yeah.
The non-participating setbacks, or setbacks from non-participating landowner needs to be its own thing. And that's why I say D, that, to me, that doesn't cover it, because it just says residential partial. It doesn't talk about if somebody has an 80 or whatever that touches, that there's no house, it's just pasture.
This is residential. So D is talking kind of about that, it's just specifying residential parcels. You're wanting to protect landowners that have properties or whatever.
Or don't want to have them look at solar, they don't run across the fence. I mean, that's protecting their value of their property.
Back up to that language again. What do you want? The solar panels and pertinent structures shall be located a minimum of 300 feet from any non-participating any landowners.
Nope, I mean, would it be better if it was its own, a non-participating?
I'm just, the language.
Yeah, the language.
Yeah, but not added to B is what I'm saying.
That would then become I.
Right, correct.
Okay. And then I would become.
Yeah, we're saying.
Three sections.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
We'll see. Where do you want it?
Well, we're going to replace I with it, and then renumber the two paragraphs underneath. So replace butler and streets.
Keep the buffer in.
Yeah, keep it
Line
that,
two,
it'll become
just
two.
the number of the two, three.
It should say any butlers. Thank you. Three hundred feet.
Solar panels.
From any existing non-participating landowners.
Or any, existing non-participating property line.
Did we add, we were at that point, we added a clause, from the previous paragraph, unless a lesser setback is agreed to by that landowner.
Yes.
You're saying the neighbor says,
Right. They have control over,
Right.
I want to add, under the non-participating properties, that should be clear from this interpretation. That would make it clear. Other than
Or
non-
define that someone's existing non-participating.
could you put it, unless that lesser setback is agreed to along by the property owners? I would be comfortable with it.
You know, extra. Well, we defined it by other, so we need
So, delete. Yep.
they have to agree. Husband and wife.
There must be no, that should be standard.
Okay. That's okay. Old section 1, old section 2, okay? On C, C. Oops, let's see.
Hang on.
We'll just fix it
Well,
later.
I'm gonna fix it later.
D, okay?
C.
C.
It's C.
See then?
E. E.
I'm reading through these.
Okay.
And all it does is increase the setbacks by 50 feet, which is not a lot, so it's fine.
F, okay? G. I. Double I. Triple I.
I didn't really have anything until
For H. I.
only thing I had on that was, are those transferable?
H or I?
A, no, I,
I.
or were you on H, I'm sorry.
Evidence of any waivers or agreements from adjoining landowners shall be provided to the county zoning commissioner and shall be filed in the registry of deeds at the applicant's expense. So that'll be, that will run with the land.
Like an easement or
Right, the only reason would be if that property sold, then that new property owner would be bound by what was agreed to. So then they are transferable.
Nine, fencing.
Did you wanna include the limited scale on some of these that?
Well, that's the thing, is those setbacks would be different for limits. Or maybe. I mean, I think we need a whole section. I mean, how much property is required to have a 20 acre limited scale site? You know, say you need at least 40 acres so that you can get appropriate setbacks from the this. So I think there needs to be a whole section that's different for setbacks and requirements for the limited scale.
Ordinance, 20 acres is the maximum on that. 2,000 acres is the maximum on the CSECS.
But like in a housing development, you only have to have 3 acres to build on, but you can't build more than 4 houses on it. So if it's can't be larger than 20 acres, but how many acres are required to do that? I mean, if you have an 80, you can put in 3 20 acre families, or 648. So yes, most of these regulations are written for commercial.
So somewhere along the line, we need to add another section for the, CC. We'll talk about all the setbacks and stuff,
Right.
and the amount allowed within it.
And we'll set back requirements, reduce the number of 20-acre sites. Have to live with that.
And I really don't know how many of them would be acceptable to go on with the grid.
I don't know how much, I don't know, I'm trying to think how much I would want them away from me if I was enjoying land.
I mean, 20 acres or 2,000 acres, there's still a lot, so.
Sure. Well, let's give it some thought. And we decide we need to add a section to that, or we're going to add a section about hiring a project manager. We'll get to that at the same time. Okay?
On the fencing on A, I kind of like to see put the slats in the chain link. You know what I mean? So you can't look right through the chain link and see.
Are you requiring the entire perimeter?
Well, I suppose you could put it away that any road frontage or if there's a non-participating, house that looks at it from the north side or whatever, I mean,
Which, some of that is in buffering and landscaping, the screening.
just,
Well, and it's, there isn't a requirement that it has to be fenced, because I don't think we want it fenced for wildlife. It says it may be fenced for chain link, but it doesn't have to, so.
It's talking about the portable, rentable.
Yeah.
Everyone looks at the G4. Last sentence. Fencing control shall not include chain link within the slats.
Yeah, that covers it.
On my
It's off the
There it
chain.
is, buffer fencing.
on my copy, page 10. G4, just before H, last sentence.
Because I want to be able to see what's behind it.
I just think whatever we do, we be clear.
Yeah.
On the page.
Cover it. Okay? Move on back.
Let me go back to the one about the signage.
more fencing.
That's 10, we're down. We were reading ahead.
I did that.
Yeah.
That's super important.
Does that work?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that, that it did have an address to it. I mean, I was over in that area today, and if I saw something and had to report it, I didn't know what the heck that was. I mean, I had no clue.
And that's, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, to have every 500 feet that you can turn in exact location by mile order.
Yeah.
I'm going to change that to 80.
Lighting, so we're okay down to lighting?
No, please, got something, but,
I'm going to change this to the abbreviated PD.
oh,
Like we put
okay.
in there.
Yeah.
Rest of it okay? And B okay? C and D, C, D, and E? Noise?
I tried to figure out what 60 decibels sounds like 500 feet away.
They say 60 decibels is a conversation. I mean, everything that I've looked at says 60.
Yeah, was a normal conversation. But if we have a setback of 1,320 feet from existing residence,
It's gonna be a problem.
shouldn't, but could you change that to,
You don't know how much you normally get on.
well, I know I wouldn't want to set that on my head, I don't have to listen to it. It's a constant, any kind of constant noise. So I don't know if you put 60 decibels at the property line, that would mean that very little sound will be able to travel over that property line.
You're the default.
500 feet from the residence.
Well, but they can't be within 1,320 feet of a residence.
Well, that's fine. Don't get used to it.
So yeah, I'm sorry, it does say 60 decibels, that's measured at the property line. Or an existing residence.
So we've got 1,320 plus 500. Right? Did you get that right?
No, it would be, they're allowing the noise at 500 feet, but the panels can be closer than 1,320.
Right.
So I would want to increase that distance to 1,000 feet, but the noise, you can't hear the noise for 60 decibels, or put 30 decibels at 500 feet. I think 60 decibels at 500 feet is too close.
Well, we already have set up to 1,320.
But that's for visibility, not for sound.
Well, but if it's 1,320 feet away, the sound's still 1,320 feet away.
Possible.
But they're saying, but that's saying,
If it's located 1,320 from the property line, we have that much to start with, now we're adding 500 to it.
No,
no, they're saying if you still have your 1,320 feet, if you walk 500 feet away, you should be able to hear. Right.
That's what it
So
says.
that,
but that's where we need to eliminate that 500 feet, because that would give them they could put the inverter at 1,320 feet, and it might create 90 decibels, as long as it doesn't create 60 from 500 feet away. I think that 60 decibels, 500 feet is too close. Whether or not the panels are 1,320 away. I don't know what the noise of the inverter actually makes, but if it makes 90 or 100 at 1,320, it could very easily make 60 at 500. So if we went to 30 at 500 or 60 at 750 or 1,000, I mean, move it farther away.
yeah, because I mean, that would still, living on this, and I don't know, also, but they position the inverter in the, I mean, I would think they would position the inverter in the furthest possible way.
Which it says that C.
I think we'll find out, how much it will happen. Again, I'm assuming the county did that, I'm not positive. Maybe put requirements that are necessary. I'll see if I can find out.
Does your residential, does it have an inverter?
Yes.
And I know it's a larger scale, I mean,
You can hear it from 20 or 30 feet away. It's a buzz. But yes, it's one little box.
right.
That's obviously a filter.
It's Mark had to come back to it. We'll find out.
That has been a point of contention with a lot of people, is that noise, so we should address it sometime.
I'm not so sure we're gonna have some comments. I was thinking about it.
There were,
Yeah.
yeah.
How about B and C?
The C's kind of dependent on land. It says.
Yeah.
Right.
So. Do you want to see?
13. A, leaves it open to the county commission, isn't it? B,
Yeah, it's, I have a hard time with the, because, it says there somewhere that after they, the project's over, illegal 3 feet, anything above 2 feet, they take out. So if you're gonna run water lines or anything, you're gonna be running into underground cables that were left there. I think it ought to be 4 feet.
I think that was in the commission part of it, of what they could do.
You need 2 foot, so won't take out the 2 foot.
what do you think?
All cables buried 36 inches or less underground must be removed. Cables that are deeper than 36 may remain if the following requirements are met. A map of buried lines is provided and an affidavit is attached to the deed of the property to note the buried cables deeper than 36 inches above.
So they'll take out 2 foot.
Yeah.
That's fine. I thought it's-
Less than 36 inches.
14, farmland standards. One of the submissions I found interesting, look, you saw that map, we don't have any primary agricultural lands. We have mostly 4, and a little bit of 3, good. So nothing on that map shows primary. Surprising, isn't it? Have the whole county.
Well, there is some crime on the creek bottoms, Long Hill Creek, Silver Creek.
I saw it, I didn't know. It's some submission that I recently, and looked at his map.
He's got these tabs, he's over there. I'm on tab.
They're not taxed.
think we leave that, leave that.
Right.
When I found that, I wasn't aware of that myself. I just had those maps. Okay,
We need to strike that, because I don't wanna integrate food production with the agrivoltaic.
so A comes out from here. Just think,
So,
are we leaving the loophole, we leave it right?
well, that's what I'm
Okay,
wondering here.
then
is
there's no private.
Somebody can come in and say, we
Yeah,
don't
we
have
gotta change that
private
to good.
grass, we just have good farmland grass, you gotta see it says on this map.
Right.
Yeah,
I
that,
think
that wouldn't be a loophole.
Right.
And I agree with you.
But, yeah, I mean, even to say good,
That's how it's defined on the map.
I mean, can we just,
reservation of agricultural.
yeah,
land.
all agriculture.
Sure,
agricultural.
make it your ground.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we put all instead of on. A comes out.
Take it out, really, suggested reservation of agricultural land.
Okay,
Yeah.
just take it all out too.
And so then I go to B as well.
I just take the word out.
Every time it says located on farmland, or farmland, things like that.
Understand the difference between the two. Why they make two different,
Well, you're saying one's prime, but the other one is of statewide importance, which would be farmland versus,
so we
What are those grasses?
give me one or generic,
yeah,
cover everything.
because the statewide importance might be defined as grass.
There you go. Rest of it okay? C,
You need to add A to C.
D. Section 4,
I had in here, which I don't mean how far to go with it, but on to add E, which we can talk about it. The native grasslands, those range to be protected if possible. I mean, I don't know how to say it, it's just a personal preference, but I guess it's just a talking point that I have in the notes.
we'll just add it to farmland, statewide importance, or and.
I mean, it is farmland of statewide importance. Or we don't. I don't know how we can put a
Could we put
restriction
it
on, as Ben said a month ago, I can put a restriction on what somebody wants to do. I hate to see it, but people tear up native grass all the time. So, I wanna have a limit on it, but we can't. I don't think we can. So it's just a talking point, I guess.
Stop at D,
Yeah, I'd say, yeah.
stop at D.
Behind where it says farmland and statewide importance. Could be,
And,
or could we put in like parentheses, specifically Flint Hills native grass?
Or should just change it to farmland or grass. And that point is specifically talking about grading, not anything else. But, I mean, at that point, they're putting panels on native grass, it's kind of like, so,
You wanna put for grassland?
I think that makes sense. Because it identifies, you've got two farmlands there.
Take up the second farmland,
That's, yeah. Grading or systems may be located on farmland or grassland of state right of importance.
Instead of saying farm.
Twice, yeah.
Could there be farmland that is of state right?
Well, but I think you're saying that, they may be located on farmland or grassland of state right of
So we're
importance.
just gonna take out any, because that wasn't in there originally.
Right, and then take out one of the farmlands. Because we had a prime farmland, we're taking that out, so it just doesn't make sense to say farmland or farmland.
Yeah. 4? One. 1A. I.
On I, that needs to be changed to CUP application.
Can you back up?
Hang on. Let me fix something.
On A, it says that you notify property owners, so how close? I mean, usually,
It says not within 1 mile. When that, one, applicant shall mail notice within 1 mile.
Sorry.
Half.
Well, the second part, it's in addition to the planning office,
Planning office mails within a half mile, the owner is supposed to mail within
1 mile.
1 mile. That's what he said.
Go back up. So that top part, that would require them to publish it in addition to the mailings? State law, zoning, does that require publication? Yes, it's okay. Publication in addition to, and again, most residents know this, no, it's concerned.
Right.
Aye. No aye. Triple I. floor? Five. I think I'll put an S behind neighborhood meeting. Might need to be more than one. What do you think? As a threat, it just requires you to do one. Neighborhood meeting.
Or any more,
Two. Eight. B. C.
One thing with C would draw it to the, fire departments, needing to know, and I don't know whether that's existing, but after that, the fire department needs to know how to get in and how to get out. But that's also, that's existing conditions of what takes place before they start. Yeah. The whole thing is,
Yeah.
what's there is existing.
We're trying to figure out something around it. That's actually the zoning office, the planning and land office, or that's the appraisal office.
Maybe it's close. It was what you had, presented.
And I don't know if we've talked about it or mentioned it, but on D, the location, size of the known wells. Do we need to require, I mean, I don't, maybe we have a test, a water test, of all wells within a certain area. So we have a baseline. Somebody comes back 2 years later and says, my well's contaminated, was it because of that, or was it already contaminated? We didn't know beforehand.
What is Steve put on that? Within,
Could be included in that setback.
any walls within
Yeah, I don't know how far to go, I just think we need to have a baseline.
I don't almost have to go put back in all the stuff.
Site studies.
Yeah.
Anything similar to those, is the underground one?
We don't have any idea. That's the thing, this is all such new technology.
While we're on that subject, I haven't, I'll try not to get my information. But this is just me putting this out there that I'm gonna reach out to a guy in the county that owns a solar company. Because he put something on Facebook about, we should look into making sure that, the solar panels don't have caddy and Telluride in them. So, that's I'm just putting it out there that next meeting I'll have some information on it, because I'm talking about it, so that, I mean, if he's saying that that's something that could potentially harm
There
someone.
was a specific type of panel that was built with this type of product, and he said that is dangerous to try to buy any of those.
Right.
So you can, yeah, put that in the regulation.
I'm gonna talk to him first and get some more information.
Mark, any further?
But I do think that we don't know
Right.
what could happen to a water well, but we need a baseline to know that that water well is safe at the beginning of the process. So if you come in a year later and say my well's contaminated, and you're trying to blame it on the solar farm, we need to know that it wasn't contaminated when they started.
Well, I suggest solar farm is,
Well, it goes
That's
back
what,
to
that's
the
what
site
we're back in that
studies.
site,
We need to put a
site
site.
specific stuff.
We require those studies.
Poison.
We require an NRCS study and all of these, we need to require, and maybe we did, I don't know.
No, there was nothing.
Well, I can understand that's for the provision, so that that doesn't happen. But if the landlord later claims it happens, they're gonna have to prove that.
But we can require that site study to be done.
So we can know before the panels or any construction even starts, if their water was good or bad to begin with, because if the water was bad,
That should be the landlord. I have, I do, I always have. We're gonna use that money.
But is
It's
that
contaminated.
a way for the company to fight that?
Well, that's.
Because
If
it's
the
not a
company,
legal
if the company
scheme.
doesn't require that themselves, then they let themselves open someplace.
does it
We don't
leave,
need to protect them, we're a big company.
but does it leave the county open for any, does it leave the county open for any liability?
County didn't have to.
But if the county allowed the project that potentially contaminated it,
Well, that's what we're trying to eliminate. If you have something that should be eliminated, specifically, then we can eliminate it.
Like
That's the
we
way we
require,
protect, somebody has an oil spill.
we require
Right off, what was
a
in the law?
wildlife study. We required a wildlife study to determine what wildlife was there prior to the project and what's happened. Why couldn't we require a water study within a certain range?
We can require it, but should we? Is the question.
I think so. That's protecting.
That's a landlord.
but that's not, but it's not necessarily protecting the landowner. If there's a non-participating landowner that has a well next to
Everybody in
it,
the county test for
Well,
water?
within a certain
within a certain,
distance,
within the distance.
whether that's a half a mile or,
I'd say we do our best.
so why are we requiring the wildlife studies and the NOCS studies?
That's county water. I won't move it. That's specific location.
But what kind of,
With no
does a
study.
non-participant, I mean, if I'm a neighbor and I went and got my well tested, and a year later it's contaminated and I cancel the project, is there anything that's gonna, the company's gonna say, well, that test was invalid? We don't trust your testing site, so we're not gonna, and we can't prove anything. But if we require them to test it beforehand by an approved testing company, then the regulations will protect that non-participating landowner.
Then we would burden on
On who?
solar company.
What's wrong with that?
I think we can only make so many hoops for them to jump through before they find out this is no longer financially viable. Every time we add a cost, we're making it more difficult for them to choose our side.
Protecting
If
our
we're adding
county
a
and our
cost to
bases.
protect the residents.
I'd say, let's get the information about what we should prohibit first.
And groundwater is one of them.
Talking about the contaminant. he's
Well, but-
talking about.
Even if, I mean, that's one contaminant,
Okay.
you know. I mean,
Well,
we
this guy's
don't-
in the business, he would know what is contaminated.
What I'm saying is, project-wide, we don't know what else, I mean,
This man probably would, that's my point.
But it may not be something from the panel itself that contaminates the groundwater. It could be runoff from something else.
That's right.
We don't really know. This is such new
You're gonna-
technology.
You're gonna have an array, you're gonna have land. Where else would the contamination come from?
Well, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of galvanizing going in the ground with a lot of this stuff. That could be potentially,
Is it?
I'm sure,
Well, you're gonna-
I'm in,
We can't prohibit that.
I'm not saying that, but I would worry about a liability coming back on the county of you guys poisoning our water with this solar project that you allowed to go through. And if we know ahead of time, or at the beginning of the project, that the water within a certain distance that,
I'm gonna fly.
I don't understand why it's such a big deal.
Well, because we keep adding expenses. Every time we add something, we add an expense. We can only add so much and make this fly.
If this is a concern about liability to the county, I think adding that to the list of questions from Todd
Yeah.
would be the appropriate thing to do.
Baseline reading, soil baseline
Water.
the water.
We already have a soil test.
On page, when it was discussing all the NRCS and the KDWE, the requirements on page 4, it says impact on water quality, so it's just like an impact study.
On groundwater, surface water probably, but that doesn't, it's not wells.
You want a baseline, what you're asking is baseline reading prior to.
From an approved testing, so that, I mean, it's protecting the non-participating landowner.
Testing source.
And if in response to your, in order for the general public to know that we have done everything we can to protect those, we have to make these requirements. Because it can't be just about one or two people dictating what goes on in the county. Because there's
It's gonna come down to 5 or 6.
right, but if there are people who are opposed, they need to have all of their concerns addressed. I just don't want to give the public hearing, and then we talk about testing water wells. I'm saying it that way. That's the reason I want to do it. I don't care about putting a burden on the company.
I mean, in
If they're gonna make enough money on this project to do it, those little things, testing a water well is $35.
that's what I mean, it's drop the bucket for what we're gonna make.
Let's get the information. What's that paper, what section?
Or page 14.
E? E? F? G? H? I? J?
J, this chronic farmland, and farmland and statewide importance. So we change that to what?
Strike out private farmland. Class 1 and 2 soils and farmland and say what happens.
Okay? Al?
Since we moved that 1,000 feet to 1320, we want to put that there.
Yeah. Al?
Change that to 8 feet.
M? Three? A? B? Listed A's on that email.
Everybody has unified anymore. Any email.
C? D? E? F?
Hang on B,
On B?
on B where we add email, I'm sorry, go back to it. With the name and address, I can go to their house. And I can mail a letter, but there's a lot of people that are against this deal. They don't have their phone number listed. Do we need to add email to save, not to save, but to, I would want my email out there on something like that so that I get 50 emails a day saying, hey, you, I hate your solar panels, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Is it necessary to add email onto that, or,
What isn't necessary? It's how most people communicate.
but
This is
this isn't
this
for
is what's on
communication.
file.
This is just, well,
What happened?
this would be the site, this is the site plan, so that email is gonna be on the sign. That's, am I looking at that wrong, I guess? Or are they just saying a printed physical and digital sign?
Well, this is just on the existing condition, we have to do site plans.
Maybe I'm looking at that.
I think that.
I don't know if the email needs, I mean, name and address should be sufficient.
Okay.
Stuff the operator.
Get to the F. G? H? I? J? K? L? M? N? O? V? 4? A. B. C. D. E. F. G.
On D, design engineer.
This is site specific.
Civil engineer.
That's what I think we put.
So we don't have a county engineer.
Slash.
What was the name there?
We just put with an engineer. Unless we did change these at the beginning of the last, and actually typed it out. So, all right, scroll a little bit.
But I think it was referring to Jackson County Road and Bridge slash civil engineer. So are we gonna strike the county and put in a civil?
Does it work? F. G. H. A confirmation project will require ADHD approved SWPP for the site at the appropriate time. What's that mean? I don't know what that means.
Yes, what the intention is, but I don't know.
That's
what-
always dangerous.
Todd question?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that means. I, an operation. Would that cover the fire chief concerns?
I think,
So, going through the site plan and the additional materials plan, at the end of the day, this is a construction site. On any construction site, one of commercial or industrial size, one thing that is pounded home is every contractor needs to have a MSDS sheet on site for everything they have on site, a material safety data sheet. That's one of the things that would, so if something was spilled, if something was whatever, and they say, or the fire department, KDHE, whoever says we need to know what was in that contractor is required to hand over, or, we have a QR code we wear on our hard hats that we can scan, and at any time, we can pull up any MSDS sheet that we have as a company for what's on that site. I would like to see an MSDS requirement in this list of stuff, just to, as a, because like I said, at the end of the day, it's a construction site, any construction site you go on, that's required. By the, you know, the solar company subs or whoever, the solar company, they all need to have one. So accessible MSDS, or I would even put during construction, because they need to provide it, even when it's, any material they have on site, they need to have a material safety data sheet ready and accessible.
So is that by federal law?
Yep.
Do we need to require it again? It's already required by federal law?
I would like to
It
see
needs
it.
to be listed.
Yeah.
How do you want me to play?
And accessible,
Yeah.
MSDS.
MSDS,
What does that stand for?
material safety data sheets. Yep. That speaks for itself. I mean,
5? About 8 o'clock, call it tonight? I'm ready.
Good stuff.
How do I know?
The next meeting is gonna be a public hearing on the, private cemeteries.
Right.
After that, you wanna do another work session, or you wanna just do that, or you wanna set up more work sessions, or?
Afraid if we schedule it, we may not have time. I mean, if the cemetery thing rolls through in 20 minutes, I don't think we're here. But, I don't know, I mean, I don't have a problem.
I suggest we start taking comments from the public. So, people are coming here time after time after time.
but, you know, that's one of the deals where we have questions for Todd. We have, you know, the stuff that I said I was gonna bring up, I'd rather have that, stuff like that ironed out before we open it up.
We have to have this thing nailed down how we want it before we send it.
And I'd rather be able to issue a full copy of, here's the planning, and here's what we did to these out to the public. Take a look, and then come to us with public comment. Because they, I mean, they've seen, you know, anybody can look at these regulations, but not everybody has seen what we've added and changed and everything else.
We have to get done with it before we send it to the public.
Let's just go over work session.
So, yeah, but
When
what you're saying is if we're calling it a work session, then the
Well,
public
we're gonna call
comments,
it work
Second Thursday.
well, the public comments would have to be in 10 days prior.
And March 13th.
If we're not gonna have a work session, then we don't have.
No,
it.
I think we'll have a planning session, so we can use whatever left, time's left over, and still go through.
Yeah, you'll close your
Public
your
display
public
for water,
hearing
yeah.
part of it, and you can,
Yeah.
Then we can have a work session. So we
Yeah,
need to have, it
just
needs
go
to be
into work session.
scheduled.
We don't have to call it that, we can just.
We do for the
Yeah.
public
For legal
comments,
reasons,
so
it would need to be called up.
they have to have the opportunity to comment
And
10 days
then,
prior.
then
So
we have public,
if time allows.
and if time allows, work session.
and we'll schedule one for 27, we'll schedule for every other Thursday after we do. You said that, so that's 13 is the meeting. You can't do the third,
Can't do it Thursday.
that week before.
Or, you know, we're having planning session. My calendar says we already got a planning.
We do have one scheduled for the 27th.
so you guys for that now, and then you
Yeah.
guys can go further.
Yeah. Okay.
Hopefully we can-
When's our next meeting?
13.
And I'll send you all your
I apologize.